Hey, Growth Squad. Welcome back to another episode of the Eugene Hamilton Podcast. Hope you're doing well. Hope that life has been treating you swell. Hope that during the summer months, it's funny. We've been traveling a little bit. I'm going to tell you about that in a second over the summer. And I thought it was just hot in certain parts of the country. It's hot everywhere, right? Hope you're staying cool. Hope that you're enjoying, if you're near some water, a beach, a pool, whatever. Hope you're enjoying cooling yourself off and enjoying time with your family or whatever the summer might bring. Today, we've got a hot episode. If you noticed lately, we've been getting in and out, and I hope that you've been capturing or been able to grab hold of what it is, those nuggets that we're sharing through this podcast. So let's pray and let's get going. God, thank you for today. Thank you for this moment. We don't take it for granted. That we're alive, that we're breathing. We may not be doing as well as we want to be, but thank you that we are doing well enough to be able to come together and just listen, dialogue, and have a conversation. Bless us, we ask. Amen. I just got back. I just returned from vacation. It's amazing how vacation takes on a whole different, personality when you've got kids involved, right? And I only have one kid, but this is the first vacation, at least going this distance, that we were able to enjoy. Not only my wife and my son, but also my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and their kids. Man, it was a blast. But as you can imagine, right? If you're watching this on video, you may see bags under my eyes, right? You can imagine that it can be tiresome. And while we were vacationing, we went to the Pacific Northwest, beautiful part of the country. As I just mentioned before, if you heard me at the beginning of the podcast, listen, it was hot. And it's funny how when we got on the airplane going to the Pacific Northwest, the flight attendant almost said stewardess, right? They almost aged myself, right? The flight attendant was sharing how back in the day, the Pacific Northwest didn't get as hot as it is now. And they started going on about climate change and so forth. And of course, everyone has their insight onto what's happening. However, here is the reality. It's hot, right? I don't have any inside track on why it's hotter than it used to be. I don't have none of that. That information is above my pay grade, right? All I know is it's hot. So we got to the Pacific Northwest and we went to go and visit some cousins, right? And so as we're there, my cousin's husband, right, is preparing for a hike that he does every single year for the past 8 years with a group of his friends. And he has friends that are a part of this hike that come in from the Midwest, from the Northeast, from down south, from the Southeast, everywhere across the country. They fly in every single year for this specific event. Now, mind you, this is the same cousin who, when he turned 50 years old back in the month of February, right, he got, and it's funny how I'm using this phrase, he got them. People were inclined because of how generous and how good of a friend he is. People were inclined to go all the way to southern Utah, right? To a remote part of southern Utah, Zion National Park, to celebrate his birthday. I began to think about, he's got this hike where people, come out to see him. People come out to be a part of it. Even some wives show up, and it's all men that are part of the hike. And sometimes the wives show up and they just stay back at the house with his wife and family and wait for them to return. Amazing to see the support there. And I began to ask myself on this recent trip to their home and to their area, I should say, am I that kind of friend? Am I that kind of friend that people will drop everything they're doing and come and support something that I have going on, right? I even remember when I was pastoring, I had a friend of mine who became ill and no one came to the hospital. I should say a handful of people. And when I say handful, I'm literally saying a handful of people, less than 5, came to see him while he was sick. And as we're sitting there talking, he began to complain about the fact that nobody's coming to see me. Nobody's calling my phone. And then the conversation took a turn, right? Down a dangerous, curvy road, if you please, right? And he began to say to himself and to me out loud, man, you know what? I'm not that kind of friend. I said, wow, that's deep, right? Because he's saying to himself that he expects people to show up for him. And he said, man, I don't show up for people. So he began to sit with that. And that's a hard truth to sit with when you realize that I wouldn't say you're a user, but you're expecting stuff out of people that you don't expect from yourself. And real maturity is when you begin to expect the same thing from you that you expect from other people. Ah, man, I just dropped something. I hope you heard what I'm putting down. Real maturity in life, in my estimation, is when you begin to get to a place where you expect the same level of excellence, of intentionality, of love, of friendship from yourself that you expect from other people. That same, listen. So I began to think back to my cousin and their family there in the Pacific Northwest. And I said, man, not only is he a good friend, the whole family. I mean, you know how who you are spills over onto those that you're closest to in many cases, whether that's good or negative, right? I said, man, they are some really, when graduation season comes around, they will pack up their own family. They'll cross the country on airplanes, in Airbnbs, renting cars to show up and support people. And it's genuine. That's what blows my mind. It's not like, he's not getting paid for this. He's not putting on for the gram. He's not putting on for brownie points. That's who he is. So ask yourself today, in this moment, very simple yet profound question, I believe. What kind of friend am I? Now, well, it's interesting that people, and I guess it's healthy to some degree, where you have this picture of yourself because I believe in affirmations. I believe in talking to yourself in positive ways. I believe in getting in front of the mirror and telling yourself, I know that I'm going to do this. I know that I'm a leader. I know that I believe in all that, right? But I don't believe in getting to the mirror and telling yourself a bold-faced lie. I don't believe in getting in front of the mirror because there's one thing that speaks something that's not reality, but you're working toward the reality. Like if your goal is to become financially free and you're not yet financially free, I wholeheartedly believe that you get in front of the mirror and say to yourself, I am financially free. That's cool. And you begin to put together a plan to become financially free. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you get in the mirror and tell yourself that you're a great friend and you have no desire or intentions on becoming and being a great friend. That's what I'm talking about. I have difficulty when people get in front of the mirror and tell themselves a lie. So before you tell yourself a lie, I want you to get in front of the mirror and ask yourself questions that deserve answers. Am I a good friend? That's number one. Ask yourself. And what does being a good friend look like? For me, this is just for me. Everybody has their own definition, but there's some core foundational pieces. Do I show up for people? Very foundational piece. And if you can't show up physically, that's cool, right? Do you show up on the phone? Do you show up via text message? Do you show up when people need you? Whether in person or, thank God, in 2026, you can show up virtually. Do you show up? The second question you got to ask yourself, I believe, if you're going to push yourself to be the best friend that you can be, do I keep my word? I think it's a horrible thing to not keep your word on purpose. Hear what I just said? I think it's a horrible thing to not have any anything inside of you that says to yourself, if I make a promise, I should keep that promise. And if I can't keep that promise, hey, listen, I have enough integrity to pick up that phone and say, hey, I can't keep that promise. Here's why, but I'll get it done at a later date. I can't meet that deadline. Here's why I can't meet that deadline. Have enough wherewithal, have enough awareness for other people's time and expectations to manage them. The third thing you should ask yourself, am I expecting more from my friend than I am expecting from myself? Now, I've heard people give excuses and reasons as to why they expect more from other people than they expect from themselves. And some of it, I see where they're coming from. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I mean, I've heard things like, they have more resources. And let me give you more context to that response. I guess I was asking this friend of someone else, do you ever fly out, or do you ever go? Do you make any efforts to go and see that individual that seems like they come to see you quite a bit? Do you ever go out to see them? Now, of course, the other friend often documents and puts it on the World Wide Web, so people can see their travels. I get that. This other individual, they're not interested in that part. So I had to ask the question, hey, do you go? And they were like, no, they have more resources. And so at friend to friend, we've worked that out. Cool. If there's an understanding, if you're saying, hey, listen, they have access to buddy passes, they have access to frequent flyer miles, they have access to money more than I do, and they can hop on a plane more frequent than me, I get it. But are you giving the same level of intention to the friendship? Are you invested in the friendship, or are you careful with how you speak to them just as much as they're careful about how they speak to you? Basically, are you a giver or a taker? Adam Grant has a book. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's not called Give and Take. I'll have to look it up. I'm gonna look it up while I'm talking. It's a powerful little book, and I'm trying to remember who recommended this book to me. Let me see. Let me check it out right quick. Don't you go nowhere. I promise you. But the book basically talks about the fact that in life, here it is. Give and take. Yeah. The best. Okay, here it is. The relationships that last have a healthy amount of give and a healthy amount of take, right? In other words, and you know how it is when you find somebody who wants to get in your space, who wants to become your friend, you can almost smell a taker. Like, God, they're just here for the wrong reasons. They're only here, right, for X, Y, and Z, whatever that might be, right? And you find yourself sometimes as a giver being blindsided by takers. Or if you yourself are a taker, sometimes you don't know how to handle givers. And there are some people that give a lot, and you're like, pump the brakes, right? But that's just who they are. So as you're seeking to build better friendships this year, as you're seeking to become a better friend this year, hope those 3 questions will give you some kind of, insight as to what kind of friend am I? And how can I become a better friend? And I'll leave you with this. I learned from one friendship that I had, a buddy of mine who I went to high school with. We were boys, and we kind of fell out for a while. And I sometimes it's the wrong thing to do to try to fill in the blank, right? Like if somebody goes silent, oh, it must be because of, no. The best thing you can do hear me out, is to open your mouth and ask questions and let them tell you what's really going on. Does that make sense? And that goes for any relationship, marriage, dating, parent to child, co-worker, whatever kind of connection. It's dangerous to play the guessing game because you don't know what's going on in their mind. You don't know why. You can guess based on a chain of events, but as the old saying goes, I need to hear it from the horse's mouth. So the next time you're in a pickle, next time you're at a crossroads and trying to figure out why this friendship isn't going the way that I think it should go, why isn't this friendship progressing the way I think it should be progressing, learn how to ask the right questions. Learn how to ask whomever you have befriended, am I being a good friend? What can I do to make this friendship blossom? What role can I play in your life to enrich and add value to your life? And I promise you, your friendships will get that much stronger, that much deeper, and that much more worthwhile. Listen, I hope today you heard something that's going to help you go, grow, and glow. I hope today that as you tuned in, you feel so inclined to share this podcast platform, to share this episode in particular with somebody who may be struggling with friendship, who may be struggling with putting the right words together with regard to how their friendships are advancing or not advancing. And I hope, most importantly, that you'll come back next week for another episode. Listen, as we continue to progress and move forward, I'm looking forward to growing deeper and growing stronger and continuing to connect with you. Don't forget this week, as you wrap up Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, every chance you get, don't forget to find some kind of way to go, to grow, and to glow. That's my time. Take care. Peace.